Skeptic young man and girl face the supernatural beyond imagination. The anime begins with Momo Iae's a high school girl arguing with her boyfriend, who insists she lend him money. Frustrated, Momo tries to beat him up, but the guy kicks her away and says he's fed up with her. Later, she's devastated after breaking up from her first relationship and seeks comfort with her friends, who question what she even saw in the guy. Momo explains that he's muscular and looks like Ken Takakura, an actor she admires. Sometime later, Momo is walking through the school corridors, still upset about the breakup, wondering if she'll ever find another muscular guy like her ex. She then passes by a classroom and sees some boys bullying an otaku, throwing paper balls at his desk while he patiently tries to read his magazine. Unable to ignore the bullying, Momo sits near the otaku, named Ken, and gives the boys a defiant glare. Afterward, she tries to make conversation by asking what he's reading, but when she sees it's about aliens, she gets bored and leaves disinterested in people from that world. As she continues walking, wondering what she'll do to release her stress, she notices Ken following her, claiming that her talking to him must mean she's in love with him. Momo makes it clear that she doesn't want to be his friend or anything like that, but Ken insists, saying she must be interested in the occult for having shown curiosity about the magazine. Momo explains that she doesn't believe in aliens, but Ken keeps the conversation going, talking about unidentified anomalous phenomena and showing her an article in the magazine saying that the US military officially recognized these phenomena and reformed the Space Force. Excited about the topic, the otaku continues explaining that Japan also recently created an aerospace defense force, making it obvious they're preparing for a space war. Momo tries to escape the conversation, but since Ken won't stop talking, she ends up venting her frustration on him, complaining about his otaku talk. Immediately, she regrets it, realizing she was too harsh, and apologizes. To lighten the mood, she says that while she doesn't believe in aliens, she does believe in ghosts. Ken laughs at Momo for believing in ghosts, which irritates her as she was trying to be nice. Momo then tells him her grandmother is a medium and asks if he's ever witnessed an exorcism, explaining that possessed people sometimes have seizures. Ken replies that there are diseases that cause seizures, so that doesn't prove the existence of ghosts. Furious, Momo asks if he's ever been given a ride by an alien. They continue arguing about their beliefs, and Momo's friends see the two together, wondering if she's given up on muscular guys and gone after an otaku. After bickering a bit more, Momo suggests they make a bet to prove who's right, so Momo heads to an abandoned hospital at night, which Ken says is known as the Alien Sanctuary. There are rumors that if you call out to an alien from the roof, you'll be abducted. Nervous, she talks to Ken over the phone while exploring the hospital and asks if any alien has ever done experiments on him. Ken replies that it's possible, but abductees usually have their memories wiped. Momo mocks him for believing in aliens when he hasn't even seen one, asking how things are going on his end. Ken says he just arrived at the place Momo mentioned, a creepy tunnel known as a spiritual hotspot. He enters the pitch black area, trying to hide his fear, claiming he'll prove ghosts don't exist. Then Ken questions if she's ever seen a ghost, since she's so confidently talking about them based on things she read online. Momo denies it, and he finds it absurd that she speaks so firmly about something she's never witnessed. Momo remembers that she already told him her grandmother is a medium and shares that she was raised by her as she has no parents. She explains that her grandmother used to make her perform a good luck ritual every time she left the house, which led to her being teased by her classmates, including the boy she liked. Momo says that after that day, she became angry at her grandmother and blamed the weird ritual for the boy not liking her. Since then, she stopped doing the ritual and distanced herself from her grandmother. But recently, she realized her anger wasn't because of the boy, but because he had mocked her family. In truth, she adored her grandmother and her work, which strengthened her belief in ghosts. Momo then asks why Ken believes in aliens, and he explains that unlike her, he doesn't have a specific reason. After all, you don't need one to like something. Momo agrees and notes that Ken seems more at ease talking over the phone, to which he replies that it's easier to talk with her this way. Suddenly, Ken notices something strange on the ground and, looking ahead, sees an old ghostly woman. He runs in terror, trying to convince himself she was just a regular old lady. Momo, hearing his panic over the phone, tells him that the ghost is known as Turbo Granny and that if anyone loses a race against her, they'll be cursed. At that moment, the ghost catches up with Ken. The call starts to cut out with interference, and Momo dashes toward the hospital exit to help the otaku. However, suddenly the lights go out, and she finds herself surrounded by aliens who attack her, tearing her clothes. When she wakes up, Momo is tied up, and 3 aliens introduce themselves as Serpoin from the planet Serpon. They say they are peaceful, but Momo questions their actions of attacking a girl and destroying her clothes. Momo tries to break free, and one of the Serpoint explains that their species consists only of males and they reproduce through cloning. However, identical units do not promote biological evolution, so they want to obtain human reproductive functions, which requires extracting her uterus for study. The girl panics upon hearing the aliens' intentions and desperately tries to escape. The Serpoint then attempt to calm her down using telekinesis that controls her brainwaves. Momo resists the telekinesis, but the aliens decide to proceed with their plans anyway. Suddenly, a sinister figure emerges from her phone and attacks one of the Serpoint. The creature is Ken, who apologizes to Momo for not appearing sooner and explains that he was cursed by Granny Turbo. Desperate, he admits that he's not himself and that the ghost has taken control of his body. At this point, the aliens transform into their true forms and attempt to confront Granny Turbo, who after knocking down another Serpoint is thrown against the wall. The aliens comment that they've never seen a human so violent. Ken regains control of his body and confesses that he's always wanted to meet aliens because he's never had any friends. He thought maybe extraterrestrials could befriend him. However, despite calling out to them since elementary school, none ever appeared and others mocked him for it. But despite everything, Momo protected him, and for that reason anyone who tries to hurt her will have to deal with him. Momo, desperate for help, encourages Ken to fight the aliens, but then he gets hit and quickly starts doubting his ability to protect her, giving up too soon. The Serpoint still standing says they can't be friends with a human as violent as Ken, and besides, their species needs a human woman more. He then refocuses on using telekinesis on Momo, who once again struggles to resist the effects on her brainwaves. Suddenly, Momo recalls an old memory of her grandmother from the day she got tired of her classmates mocking her because of the ritual. Her grandmother asked her to expand her Kai as she always did, but Momo refused, explaining that her friends made fun of her every day because of it. Her grandmother insisted that she perform the ritual, explaining that when you expand your Kai, you don't get hurt or sick, because bad things can't get close to you. She explained that first you put strength in your lower belly, and then imagine the Kai shooting up to the top of your head. Momo tried to do as her grandmother asked, but when she remembered her classmates' words, she got angry again and said she would never do it again, even saying cruel things to her grandmother like that she hated her. Back in the present, Momo wonders why she's remembering that day and regrets speaking to her grandmother that way. However, remembering how to expand her Kai, she manages to reverse the alien's telekinesis, leaving him questioning whether he overstimulated her brainwaves and accidentally opened her chakras. Momo feels joy realizing her grandmother really was a true medium, and thanks her now feeling she has the strength to stand up to garbage boys like those aliens and her ex. She then kicks the Serpoint into the sky, hitting their spaceship and causing an explosion.
あの時はただ恥ずかしかっただけだよ。
お腹の下に力を入れ、頭の先から気を。
嘘。
なぜだ。
うちもびっくりだわ。本物だった。おばあちゃんは本物の霊媒師だった。ありがとうおばあちゃん。くせ男。飛ばせるわい。
Deciding it's time to escape, she looks for Ken, but Granny Turbo, still controlling his body, attacks her. Momo uses her newfound abilities to somehow separate the two, leaving the ghost furious. At that moment, Ken rises in pain from the curse, which confuses Momo since she had just separated him from Granny Turbo. The old lady explains that she possessed part of Ken's body, and as long as she holds on to that part, the curse will remain. Afterward, the ghost challenges the two to return to the tunnel where she resides and disappears. Suddenly, Momo realizes the hospital is collapsing and uses the alien spaceship to flee safely with Ken. After all the chaos, Momo concludes that she has to believe in the existence of aliens since she was abducted by them, while the otaku admits he now believes in ghosts since he was cursed by one. Then they both wonder what to do next. After all, Ken loses control of the curse if Momo doesn't contain it with her new powers. She also laments losing her clothes, wallet, and phone in the mess. Ken wonders what he has to do to break the curse, and Momo says it probably involves giving Granny Turbo a good beating since she's the cause of it all. Ken then says he'll return to the tunnel where Granny Turbo lives and offers to leave his clothes behind for Momo to wear since she's still barely dressed. He regrets everything that happened, saying it was all his fault and he can't drag her deeper into this mess. Momo reminds him that without her, his curse will activate, and after everything they've been through, she can't leave him alone. Ken asks if Momo really doesn't mind helping someone like him, and the girl hands him his clothes to put back on, showing she's definitely going with him. Although happy that Momo agreed to come along, the otaku insists she wear his clothes, explaining that he feels awkward being around her dressed like that. This makes Momo's heart race, and she doesn't understand why she's having this reaction to him, but she decides to calm down and ignore the feeling. Then she asks what the otaku's name is, having completely forgotten introductions, and he introduces himself as Ken Takakura, the same name as her favorite actor, leaving her in total shock. This is the end of Dandadan Episode 1. Thank you so much for staying on this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you updated with our latest content. See you in the next video.